Hey guys, good afternoon and welcome to a special edition of Let Him Run. Today we're going to do our happy hour handicapping with a special guest, our friend Alex Viola. What's up, Alex?
How we doing, Fred? What's up, everyone? Happy to be back on the show here.
We're glad to have you. We met you and talked to you when you were up there in Saratoga, where you once again accurately picked Sovereignty to do it again, and he certainly did. And you were all over it as you were in the Derby, which we talked about that when you were up in Belmont.
Yeah, man, that was what a day that was. And I wish I should have gave out my picks for the other races because, man, when I was red hot that day.
Were you really?
I had Sovereignty, like you just mentioned. I'll always ride with Sovereignty moving forward. He's a lovely horse. He's probably one of my top 3 favorite horses now. And just that last furlong between him and Journalism was just spectacular. I mean, I was almost front row on the fence there up at Saratoga.
Really?
Yeah, and just seeing that when they made that last turn, man, I was screaming my head off going after Sovereignty. But it was an awesome race. Journalism's a great horse too. Baeza as well. I know I gave those 3 horses. They both finished first, second, third there. So that was an awesome turnout.
Well, it was between the weather, right, and the track being sloppy again, and the order of finish, Sovereignty, Journalism, Baeza. It was the Derby 2.0.
Yeah, it really was. And it was a little less sloppy, actually. When I first got there, I checked it out because it stopped raining like before the races even started. It was still a little sloppy from the day before, but not like the Kentucky Derby slop. And when I saw that, I got a little bit worried because I knew Sovereignty loves that thick stuff. So
sure.
Once we came to the gate there, I was like, I'm still going with Sovereignty. Didn't want to make any last minute changes here. So still happy.
Don't do that. No. You know how many guys who've they print out a ticket and they look at, oh no, this is wrong. They turn it in and it ends up being a big win. Never do that. We never do that.
Never do that.
Well, listen, I'm going to. How long did you stay in Saratoga after the Belmont?
Yeah, so I believe I got there Friday. Then Saturday was the big races, and then as soon as I opened my eyes on Sunday, I got the hell out of there. Right, I got there, did my job. Wanted to get home, get fresh for that Monday work.
Do your job and then get out of there.
Yep, I'm a business guy here, man.
Well, I'll be going up there. I think I might have mentioned that to you when we were talking when you were up there yourself. I'm going up there in the middle of July. Obviously, we're talking today, which we'll get to shortly, about Gulfstream Park, which has been my kind of go-to track that we on here on Let 'Em Run have been breaking down on Saturdays. The late pick 5 sequence, and we've had a couple really good weeks lately. We'll talk a little bit about that before we get into it, but their meet ends. Well, their Royal Palm meet ends Sunday, June 29th. Then they'll take some time off until they return in September with the championship meet, because obviously the big meet that's going to be going on is going to be Saratoga, which starts in mid-July, and of course they finish up in on Labor Day. So that's going to be great, and that's where Let 'Em Run and myself and we'll hopefully get you on again a few times. We'll look at the Saturday card at Saratoga, which always has great races on that. You have your 4-Star Dave. You have a couple other really big races that always occur on Saturday. Besides, obviously, the Travers. That's the biggest race they have there.
Yeah.
I've never been to that. Have you ever been to that race, Alex?
Oh yeah, been there about 3 times. Looking at making a 4th.
Man, Alex, you're making me jealous. Your first time on the second time on the show, you're making me jealous.
I will say that before the Belmont went to Saratoga, the Travers race I've been to before, and I thought that was a huge turnout. But then the Belmont, those people at the Belmont, I mean, there had to have been 50,000 people there. But I will say the Travers race is one of my favorite days of the year. When I was living in Saratoga, we would always go easy walk there, meet up with all the friends, have a great day. Awesome. And now I'm going to be driving up for that weekend, looking to get up there for the 4th time. But yeah, I'm actually very excited about this podcast today because we're talking Gulfstream picks down there, and I'm not familiar with those jockeys. I'm not familiar with these ponies. So I really wanted to test my handicapping with this segment we have going on here. So that's why I'm super excited. Let's see how I actually do.
Well, I'm sure you're going to provide some good insight, Alex. I have no doubt about that. Yeah, Gulfstream Park, especially this meet, the Royal Palm meet, it's a little less. Obviously, their big meet is when they have their meet at prime time when they do the Fountain of Youth. They do the Florida Derby, all prep races for the Kentucky Derby. They have plenty of good prep races there, as I mentioned, the Florida Derby and the Fountain of Youth Stakes. But they still have some quality races down here. The horses are all there to win. You get some good trainers down there. There's a couple good races in this late pick 5 that we'll go over. And when I do my handicapping, I print out the past performances on Monday, and I don't have the odds there. I just look through the horses, right? And I said, okay, this horse looks like a solid morning line favorite. This horse should be 10 or 15 to 1. I don't actually do my own lines. Some handicappers will put their own morning line on a race, on a horse in a race. I just look at who I think is going to be the favorite. And when I put up my One Horse Wonder podcast on Saturday or Thursday night, I just go over one horse, my top pick and why I pick it. And usually by then I have the odds. And last week, Alex, boy, every race I looked at and I had my top pick, they were 8 to 1, 10 to 1, 15 to 1. And a lot of them came through. The 2 apprentice jockeys, I'll talk a little about those 2 guys who are going to be up and coming riders. They're already doing well down there. Luis Fuenmayor and Yair Torres both ran some exceptional races and put us and our picks big time in the 7th race. They ran 1-2. The first place, Fuenmayor paid $22.40. The second place paid $6.40. The exacta paid $162. So that's awesome. Was really good. They won another race. Of course, the big jockey down there, Alex, is Edgar Zayas.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've been. When I was doing my research there, I saw his name pop up a lot. Him and I think his name is Emisel Jaramillo. I've been seeing his name.
Jaramillo. He's the other big guy down there during this Royal Palm meet. When they're there and their big meet, they have everybody's down there. Saez, the Ortiz brothers, Flavian Pret, they're all there now. But right now, yes, the 2 big guys, and you're 100% accurate on that, are Edgar Zayas and Jaramillo. And the big trainer is, obviously he's good all over, but he runs a lot of horses down in Gulfstream. Is Saffie Joseph Jr. Carlos David, is another trainer. We'll look at him. There's Jen Antonucci runs trainers in there. She's the only female trainer who won the Belmont. There's a couple other good trainers down there. So it's good. And it's going to be fun to do this. So you ready to dive in?
Oh, I'm ready to dive in here, Fred. And,
all right, cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, I was thinking like during the week, right, when I got this intel that I'll be hopping on here, I'm like, how does one handicap, races that he's unfamiliar with? So I kind of went back to the drawing board here, and I think I did it differently a little bit than what I normally do. But from what I've seen, I think I got some good picks here. So
cool. Well, let's do it. Yeah. All right. So race 7 is a 5 furlong, obviously sprint turf. Nice little maiden special weight race. Currently, there's a field of 8. Obviously, we do this podcast on either a Thursday or Saturday. We do one on Thursday, the one on Saturday, which we're doing today, because I won't be doing it tomorrow because I'm doing a bus trip to Monmouth Park with our guys from the Ancient Order of Hibernians. That's why we're doing it tonight. And again, happy to have you on here, Alex. Tremendous. Is on Saturday, the scratches come out, and then the race flavor can change, the flow can change. You know how that works. So we're looking at it straight up now with every horse in the race. So this 5 furlong race, I'm going to go. My first pick I'm going to talk about is my top pick, and it's Brisa Veloz. That's the 8 horse. Again, the potent combination of Edgar Zayas and Saffie Joseph Jr. This horse also has something I look at a lot, and I know we talked about this a little bit when we covered the Belmont. Prime Power, number 1 Prime Power by Brisnet, which is a great resource of handicapping, Alex, that I use. And that's why this horse, I think, is number 1. You have great jockey. They go by the breeding and whatnot, but he also is going to be the favorite. He's 6 to 5 morning line. And again, I like this horse before the odds came out. I was hoping I wasn't going to see 6 to 5, but I'm not surprised. And he ran out last time out at 5 furlongs on turf, put up a 75 Beyer speed figure, which is pretty solid because the Beyer par for this distance, for this maiden special weight, race is 77. So a little step up, third off the layoff, Alex. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he's an experienced horse down in Gulfstream there. He's been racing there all year so far. He's had 3 races. His last one, he actually won on the turf in a 5.5 furlong race. So I think that's a solid pick there. Like I said earlier, I kind of changed up how I handicapped with, this new detailed information with these horses. I actually am going with No Time to Wait. And like I said earlier, that's Ismael Jaramillo jockey. And the way I was handicapping him, right, because I didn't have much knowledge on it,
Sure.
I honestly looked at their past races as well. Very familiar with Gulfstream, very short ran horse here on the turf. Now his last race, he came in second down in Gulfstream. It was a 5.5 furlong turf. Now we're taking out a half furlong here for this upcoming race. I just think the chemistry between this jockey and this horse, from what I've seen so far, looks really good.
What number horse are we talking about?
I didn't write it down here. His name's No Time to Wait. Let me see.
Well, he's a first-time starter.
For No Time to Wait?
Yeah. Race 7. He's the number 1 horse. No, you're right. Jaramillo is on him. But from what I'm seeing on my past, he's a first-time starter.
Yeah, on my end, I got he's ran Gulfstream back in March, came in third, ran back in Gulfstream in May, and then came in second. That's what I was looking at. Now, I don't know. I could have had some bad intel here because I didn't have the pamphlet in front of me. I was just going on websites, but that's what I found.
Well, he's the first-time starter being trained by Jose D'Angelo. Morning line is 6-1. He's in the number 1 slot. Again, being ridden by Jaramillo. I don't know if there's a horse that has won the last race because it's a maiden special race, so that nobody could have won a race yet. So I'm not sure where that. Do you have any other horses in that race that you looked at?
Yeah, I do actually. I have Love Actually. I believe he's the second favorited horse in this race. He's being ridden by Gonzalez here, and again, I was looking at his last races. He loves coming in third here, and I think he's going to break through tomorrow. I think that jockey's tired of coming in third. I think the owner's tired of coming in third. I think he's going to see something special. And again, he's a turf horse here, and this is a turf race. You got to look at the speed after the last furlong that's coming out for him. So that's another one I have my eye on.
They Love Actually, the 4 horses being ridden by Gonzalez for the first time, who's one of the better jockeys down there at Gulfstream Park. His morning line 7-2. He does have some experience. He's raced 5 times. Like you said, of the 5 races he's been in, he came in second twice, came in third twice. So yeah, he's about to break through, and he raced a very good race 4 back on turf, 5 furlongs at Gulfstream Park in a race that was actually a little bit higher class than this. He was ridden by Dylan Davis, and that was a key race where 2 horses came back to win. So that's a nice horse too. I mean, I think in this race, in this kind of race, you can pick a lot of horses, and none of you can make a case. Oftentimes, when you listen to handicappers talk, they'll say you can make a case for almost every horse in this race. I mean, the 2 horses 30-1. I don't know how you can make a case for him, but or her. Anything could come up, but there's interesting race to pick. So again, my top pick is the favorite, the clear favorite, 6-5 Brisa Veloz. You like the 1 No Time to Wait, first-time starter. There's only 2 first-time starters in the race. One of them is the number 1, and the other one is the number 3, Winning Star, another horse trained by Safi Joseph. So you never know with those horses. So that's a good way to start if you're doing a pick 5 sequence. Tough, right? Unless now one of my weaknesses, I'll be honest with you, Alex, I'm trying to get smarter, and as I try to become a better handicapper, is which we're all trying to get smarter, right? Is when you look at breeding. A lot of guys will take, and sometimes Brisnet gives you information on breeding, but some guys will look at the breeding and say, okay, City of Light out of Equality Road, etc. They'll talk about how that horse loves to sprint. That horse sired many sprinters, all that kind of stuff, and you could pull that info out of certain information, but that's the kind of stuff I just don't have like on the top of my head. How do you handle that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, like that there's so much information that goes into handicapping where you can look at whatever has to do with the horse. In terms of the breeding, right? I don't really look at the breeding, honestly. I look at the statistics in terms of how well they ran the last race, how well the jockey did on them if he's raced with him before, how they do on a certain track, right? Turf, mud, whatever it may be. I kind of, experience like the time differences in between each post, right? So that they have certain furlongs that they get to where they're at. If they come out hot, they come out slow. There's certain things I look at. Now, specifically in turf races, I think once a horse comes out hot, they stay hot. Nothing's stopping them, especially in a 5 furlong race. So I'm looking at both horses that I throw out there. I hope they come out of the gate good, and I need them to stay good the whole way.
Well, 5 furlongs is definitely a time to get out and stay hot because it's over pretty quick. It's less than a minute most times, obviously, sometimes 55, 56 seconds. And again, a first-time starter could, again, another thing you hear a lot of time handicaps saying, could be anything. Well, we're going to find out in that race. So that's race 7. We're going to move on right now to race 8, which is another sprint 5.5 furlongs, this time on synthetic, and it's a $70,000 handicap race. Right now, without any scratches, it's a decent-sized field. We have a field of 6. It's not huge, but you could probably pick some horses out in a short field like this and really land on one horse. I'm going to let you go first this time, Alex, and let me hear who your top pick is.
Yeah, for sure. So race 8, like you said, my top pick is right here is Tiffany Gold. Again, we're going with Jarmillo here. Something about him that I keep reading. I like what I'm seeing here. Again, another fast race, like you said, a small race, but got to get out of the gate fast. Tiffany Gold came in first place his last race, which is why I like him a lot. And I also think, with him being a 5-2 favorite here, or maybe he's not the favorite.
No, well, he's 5-2.
Mrs. Gambino is the favorite. Okay, so it looks like he's the second favorite here, which is what I love. No one likes picking the favorite in any race there is, but looking at his past statistics here, I know he's gotten a race under his belt at Gulfstream back in May. Came in first, 5 furlong turf race, just like that. I know we're on a different track here, but I think he comes out of the gate strong, especially with Jarmillo. From what I've seen in his research, he loves coming out fast.
You're 100% correct on that. That's one of the things. Jarmillo on the speed horse is a plus. And that horse, Tiffany's Gold, was my second pick. He is actually the third morning line choice because there are 2 horses in here. The one horse, which was my pick, was Mrs. Gambellini, is 7-5, and that's the second choice, first choice, and the 3 horse Great Venezuela is 8-5. The number 1 horse, again, like I mentioned, Mrs. Gambellini. For any fans of Only Murders in the Building, that's a character in that movie. I don't watch that show, but I just looked. The name sounded familiar, and I was talking to a friend. Do you know who Mrs. Gambellini? I thought it was somebody. I sound like a name from My Cousin Vinny, the movie My Cousin Vinny, but I was wrong. It was
if I had to take a guess, I feel like it's something from The Sopranos.
But it's from Only Murders in the Building. It's a pretty popular show. But my favorite was the number 1, Mrs. Gambellini. And trust me, Alex, I don't like picking favorites either, but when I see Zayas and Saffie Joseph Jr. again together, and again, I did this before I saw the morning line last week. I think I picked Zayas and Saffie Joseph Jr. just once in the last race, and we did well. But this time, there's a lot of races. I think in these 5 races, these last 5 races in this pick 5 sequence, Zayas is the favorite in 4 out of the 5 races, which is not surprising. But I like this horse because he is number 1 prime power. He's got a heck of a lifetime record, 5 times, 3 wins, 1 second. He's back to his preferred surface now. He ran a couple races, about 4 races on turf. Never run bad. We always run a good race, regardless of the surface he was on. Zayas was on him on turf. He broke his maiden, this horse did, his first time out on synthetic with a strong buyer speed figure of 89. Stalked the pace and then came in hard to close at 5 furlongs. So he's getting another half a furlong here. So as a stalker who's not a need the lead type horse, and Zayas getting back on him for Saffie Joseph Jr., third off the layoff again, like the horse in the last race, improvement expected. So I don't think there's a lot of room between these 3 horses, quite frankly, in terms of their odds, 7-5, 8-5, and 5-2. It's just a matter of which horse that you want to fall on. You fell on your horse, I fell on mine. I don't think we can make an argument against either one of those. A lot of it will have to do, like you said, with the break. Both of those jockeys are known for getting good breaks and known for getting horses out. I think I agree with you. I think Jaramillo is going to get that horse out. And I think, don't worry, Zayas knows that. And I think he's going to stay right on his heels and just stick with him and then look to close him out in the end. So we'll see what happens there in that race. That's a good pick. I like it. So we'll see where we go from there. But so far, so good here, Alex.
So far, so good. So far, so
All
good.
right. So race 9, we're going to move on to race 9. Finally getting a route race. It's a mile and 16th on turf. It's a $17,000 claiming race. Non-winners of 2 lifetime for some of our viewers. And Sean always mentioned this. My buddy Sean always, sometimes we may get a few folks on here who are new handicappers. Non-winners of 2 lifetime means they only had one race. So some of these horses have been looking for the second win for a long time. And when you see a horse stuck at that level for a long time, sometimes it's a negative, sometimes it's not. Me, I look for a horse where they haven't been stuck at the level for a long time. And I took a shot with the number 7 horse, West Hampton. He's a morning line of 4-1, which I think is really positive for me. He broke his maiden in the second time, two races back on turf at this very distance with Morelos on him. Morelos is a good jockey. This last time out, he kind of stepped up in class a little bit, went up to claiming 25K. That might have been a little bit, the waters might have been a little too deep for that horse. Didn't have a great start. He hit the gate coming up, but he made a really strong bid he finished 6th, but he only finished 3 lengths out of first place. So in spite of the bad break, he got a good run. And now he's getting Vasquez on him, who is a very good jockey down there. And he's dropping back down into a class where it's more comfortable for him. And I think at 4-1, I would love to see him stay in that neighborhood in terms of the morning line odds at post time when they open up. Alex, who you like?
Yeah, no, I hear there, Fred. I love that pick, actually. And, you said he had a bad break out of the gate his last race. That's why I think it's really important to look at those statistics that they give you, right? The timing of each post that they hit. Sure. You're saying he had a great run towards the end of the race, but imagine if he had a great start. It all comes together once you look at those statistics. For race 9 here, 2 horses definitely stood out to me. Now, Son of Slew is the first horse that stood out to me just because of his history and his expertise on this course here at Gulfstream Park. I was doing a little bit of research on the jockey, Marcos Menessi. I think these names are hard.
That's
I was looking at his statistics. Marcos, yeah. Marcos, he was an eye-opener for me, especially on this horse. But I definitely want to hone in on another one, Saratoga Cruiser. And I'm not just being biased here because Saratoga is my home course here, Fred. Saratoga Cruiser, he's a 3-year-old. And something about him with this jockey Gil here. His last race back in May, he came in 2nd place on a turf 1-miler race. Now, I know this is a little bit longer race coming up. But I do want to keep an eye out on this guy, Saratoga Cruiser, especially with these odds too, 6-1. I don't think people are giving him, that much confidence that he should be getting, which is what I love to see, right? Fade the favorite, fade the community. That's what I always go with. Everyone's always going to be on one horse, right? We want to go the opposite.
Right. And that's a great pick. 6-1 is great odds. Gil will also ensure that those odds, the morning line of 6-1, will very likely stay in that neighborhood, if not go up, because he doesn't have the name recognition of Jaramillo, Saez. The trainer is Jeff Engler, not a terrible trainer, hasn't won a race yet down there as a trainer. Is 0 for 14. Doesn't mean that he can't win. That horse has got very good closing speed. He's got actually the best U.S. time form closing pace figure of the horses in the field. And in a race like this, in this distance, it's going to be kind of an interesting opportunity for a horse at 6-1. And that horse has been around and he was in a grade 1 race back at Keeneland in October of 2024, raced against East Avenue. I mean, obviously that horse, and that was his 2nd race of his career. He broke his maiden and they put it right into a grade 1. So there must have been some sense of this horse being a good horse. And, since then he's kind of had a little trouble getting back on his feet. But he's starting to come back into form again. And I think you're right. His buyer speed figure went up a little bit last time out. And I think, Gil knows this horse pretty well. This is his 4th time on the horse. So I don't think that's a bad pick at all. And the price is right. There is a horse in here that I'm very interested in. And this horse is a big time price. And before I looked at the odds, I didn't know what the odds were. He was one of my contenders, one of my strong contenders, the number 3, Weinman Tracks. Ridden by one of my favorite jockeys down there, Jose Morelos. This horse last time out was on synthetic and put up a big number to win and break his maiden. It was a decent field of 12 horses in the field. He broke from the A post. Not a terrible post, but a little about outside post. He's third off, layoff again. Morelos knows the horse, ridden the horse a couple times. Trainer Roderick Rodriguez wins. No, he's not as popular as Saffie Joseph Jr. or David Carlos, but this horse also knows how to pass horses, and that's kind of important. And I think I don't know how he was 30-1. Again, that's why I looked at him. When I looked at him, and then when the odds came out, Alex, and I saw 30-1, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if he's going to win, but I'm going to give him a chance to get up there and get into the exacta trifecta. And who knows, maybe he could pull off a big upset. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's a longer race here, right? Distance at first, speed at the end. I know one of the important things, track knowledge here. A lot of these jockeys, what they like to do is they like to stay on the inside for as long as possible. Then at that last turn, they love getting to that outside with open area there to get their speed going. So if some of these horses can start on the inside, get a fast start out of the gate, get to that position fast on the inside, by the time they make that turn, they push them to the outside. That's where they have all that space, all that space to get up their line there through that finish line. So, that's why I love these long races, man. It can go either way. You got to really determine on who comes out first, who comes out last, and even where they're sitting in the middle of the pack.
Sure, and that's what makes it fun to watch a race when you're watching the horse you want to win. Where is he? Is he trying to save ground? Does he have to split horses? Does he have to go wide? And you've seen horses come from 6, 7 wide and run the field down. So yeah, I think again it's a nice race in terms of size. I think there's how many horses in the field? There's 9 horses in the field. That's a nice big field. I think we're going to go to the next race, race 10, which is a really big field. It is a 1.16 miles. Again, another route race to apply some of the things that we just talked about. 1.16 miles on synthetic, claiming 10,000. Not a high level race in terms of price and the claiming, but nevertheless, good horses to be had. It's a field of 12 with 2 AEs. So even if there's a scratch or 2, you're still going to get a big field of 12. And I think, that makes a big difference. So you really need to look for, okay, what horse is going to be able to make an opportunity here to get through. And I think that's where we're going to go with this. So who is your pick in this race, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I do have some trouble with like the more horses in a race to pick. But then I just go back to my stomping grounds here. I want to make sure I'm handicapping the same way as I always do. And you know what? I landed on this one horse for some reason. He's a 20-1 horse. His name's Trendy. He's being ridden by Fune Mayer. The way I was looking at him, he may not look that good on paper in terms of his last few races, especially because they haven't been long races either. We're sitting at, a little over a mile race here. His last race, I mean, he came in first, but it was a 6 furlong race. I'm very excited to see what this horse does. He gets out of the gate very fast. So I think, going into this race, the jockey knows to hold him back a little bit. Like I said, get him to the outside at that turn. I at least, do a win-place show on this horse. I think he's going to at least place, in my opinion. And with those numbers, that 20-1 odd number right there, you got to love to see that payout.
I have an agreement with you on that on many levels. Number one, Luis Fuenmayor is a very good jockey coming into his own down there. I don't know how much you put into a jockey or a horse getting a weight break, but I think that does mean something. I particularly like him more in a horse that's shown speed, and then all of a sudden a jockey like Fuenmayor or Torres is getting on the horse, and of course 8, 9, 10 pounds could make a big difference. But I think that horse has a legitimate chance. He's been in this race with the first, second, and third place horses in this last race he was in are all here again. Amelia Queen, Misprint, and EM's Treasure are all here in this race again.
Let him be comfortable.
So he's comfortable. They're like his buddy. So the horse is going to be familiar with him. And she came in fourth against those horses. No reason why she can't come in second, come in first. So I think at 20-1, that is a good pick. I am going back again, and I hate doing this, but when I did these picks without the odds, I was like, please don't be 2-1. Please don't be 8-5. But once again, Edgar Zayas on the number 2 parallel. Now, what's interesting is Carlos David is the trainer here. 33% wins. Really solid. Gave this horse a little break. He won his last race out with Zayas aboard. I mean, Zayas has been on him the last 5 times. So I'm not surprised Zayas is still on him, even though Safi Joseph Jr. does have a horse in this race. And he put, I think, Mirage on him. He put Mirage on him. The guy who was in the booth a couple of years ago, good jockey, but he went into the booth for the NYRA TV broadcast, came back out again. That's a good horse too. So, I mean, I like Parallel Zayas, a little time off. He's getting off the break, had some great workouts. Carlos Davis is a tremendous synthetic trainer, wins at like over 20%, and that's tough. Horse won a couple times at synthetic already. He fits in the class of this race. He's dropping in class. Actually, last couple times was 17K, 20K. So he's dropping a little bit in class. And, he always runs a good race. His lifetime record is pretty good, 15 times, 3, 4, 4. Sure. So that's another horse I like in that race. I'm gonna jump on one other horse that I like, which, again, as you know, when we talked about when you were in Saratoga about Speed, I really like Speed. And I think this horse has a good chance on synthetic, and sometimes Speeds holds up, sometimes it doesn't. I just mentioned the horse, Lady Emily Catherine, the 10 horse being ridden by Mirage. I think this horse, if he shows some of the form that this horse showed 3 and 4 races back, where showed some really good speed on synthetic at long distance, came in second by a neck, came in first by 4 times with Dylan Davis on him, Irad Ortiz on him a couple of times. Mirage is going on. Zayas went on to another horse. Obviously, Ortiz and Dylan Davis are not here. And I think that horse at 92 has one of the best early pace speed figures of the horses in the race, has shown an affinity to run on synthetic with good speed. So I think I don't mind that horse taking a shot at that horse too. He's also number 1 prime power. Again, for me, Alex, that has a big impact on my picks.
Yeah, absolutely, Fred. I also was looking at Lady Emily here. I think these types of races here, Fred, are really good for exacta betting here, right? You could put 3 or 4 horses together. You only need two of them to come in first and second. It might be a little pricey of a ticket, but if you pick the top 4 horses that you like and throw them in exacta, the chances of you hitting that, I think that's the type of bet that you want to place in this race here. Now, Lady Emily, like you said, looks really good on paper here. I love the Mirage jockey there. I was reading up on him. So I don't mind that pick at all. If I had to do it, it'd be him, your pick. And then obviously I want to get that 20-1 horse in there for us, make some money, you get our viewers here, get some cash in their pocket.
I think that's a good example right there of, I'm a big pick 5 guy. And when I do these analysis, I call it, the late pick 5. It doesn't mean I'll always play the pick 5, but I am a big pick 5 guy. But I just analyze the picks in the last race or the last 5 races, which is the late pick 5 at Gulfstream. I'll probably do the same thing when we go to Saratoga. I may look at some of the bigger races that they show up before the late pick 5, but oftentimes they're a part of the late pick 5. But I had, in my article that we wrote on Florida Sports Talk, this is the most wide open race. It's a big field. There's 12 horses. And like you said, if you want to make some money, and if you went with the horses we picked, the 20-1 horse, the 9-2 horse, if you use the favorite parallel and you ran third or something like that, that might not be a bad pick. I also like the number 3, Mia More, dropping in class in a big way. Has won 4 times at Gulfstream Park Synthetic, has won 4 times at this distance out of 8 races. So that's a good horse too at a price. So that might be a little, we should look at that right now and say I would do a 2, 3, 5. Let's see how this turns out. 2, 3, 5, 10 exacta box. What do you think? That includes your horse too, right?
Yep.
The 2, 3, 5, 10. Put it out there and see what happens. We'll talk about it on Monday when we look at our picks. But I think that's an interesting pick. We got some good horses. We got some good prices. We got the best jockey there. We got the best trainer. We got a hot pick at a 20-1 shot with a good reason. We got a speed horse. I think we covered all the bases here. So let's take a look at that 2, 3, 5, 10 and see where we go with it.
I love that. Absolutely love that. I know I'll be placing that bet tomorrow 100%. I can't be putting these picks out here, Fred, and not betting them, man. I can't be
Oh, no,
doing that.
no. Trust me. Last week in that first race, I was down at the waterfront here in New Jersey. There's a really nice place in Forked River. I was down there with my girlfriend watching some boats come in and having a few beverages and enjoying ourselves in the sun. And I was watching the races on my phone, and people must have thought I was nuts because in the seventh race, the one horse that was also 15-1, which Yabra Torres was leading the whole way. And I'm thinking, oh, well, look at this. And then here comes the 6 horse with Fred Mayor on him at 12-1, closed on the horse. So it was pretty cool to watch. So we'll see how that goes out in that list, the race we just picked. So let's look at that. We'll go right here now to the penultimate race, race 11, another long mile and 16th on turf, maiden special weight. So we started with a maiden special weight. We're closing with a maiden special weight. Again, some tough horses to pick when you're looking at maiden special weights, but you could come up with a big number, pick out your horse, tell us why you like them, and then we can go from there. So what do you like here, Alex?
2 horses definitely stood out to me. I'm going to start with a Waylo on this first one. And I know his last few races, he's more of a dirt horse race here. But his last time running on turf, he came in 3rd, and he closed that gap around that bend that I always hone in on. Very strong and very fast on that turf. He's been more experienced in the dirt recently, but at a 4-1 odd here with Sammy Camacho on him, I really enjoy this colt. I think this 3-year-old colt is going to come out, decently slow. It's not his prime, what he does from the film that I watch on him, right? But when he comes out and he gets comfortable in that middle pack here, especially with these long races, he starts to get comfortable. He starts to feel it out, and he does kind of what Sovereignty does, right? He starts in the inside, makes his way to the outside when necessary. This jockey knows exactly when to pull him out of that inside, and I think that's so crucial in a long race like this. Other than that,
it is his 3rd race in his lifetime.
Yeah, 3rd race. His first one was the first one ever on dirt, and then after that, the first one ever on turf. After that, it was dirt and dirt. Both very long races, though. It's a long racing horse here, and he hasn't finished below 4th place. The last time he ran was 2nd. I think this is a hungry 3-year-old colt that really is begging for a first place finish here. And then I also was looking at Shotgun too. I believe he's the favorite in this race. I could be wrong. Shotgun looks really good, really, really consistent horse here. Again, I know it's a dirt horse, and I know I'm honing in on it, but the way he maneuvers around these other horses, he likes to get comfortable. He likes the action in the middle. He even likes to get touched a few times from the film that I've seen. When he comes out, it's a little slow again, but I love those slow horses on long races. When they get up, they have to get up. They know when to get up, and that's why I look.
Save ground. They save their best shot for the end, and he's got a good jockey on him. Perez is a little bit underrated there at Gulfstream Park, but I don't think that's a bad pick at all. And his morning line, what I have here, Alex, is 15-1, so that would be a nice pick. And again, all these horses are looking for the first win. They're all going to be hungry. They're all looking to get that big W next to their name. I again, hate doing this, but I picked the number 10, 11 Bravo. Again, closing out with a Safi Joseph Jr. horse and a Zayas horse. It's got good distance. 397 is his Tomlinson number, which is the highest in the field. That helps him out quite a bit. Last time out, again, on turf, a little shorter at a mile. Picked up a nice 75 buyer, came in 2nd with Francesco Arrieta on him. So again, when Zayas gets on the horse for the first time, and Safi Joseph Jr. gave this horse to Drayden Van Dyke, Micah Heisman's Drayden Van Dyke again. Frankie Dettori rode him one time at Gulfstream Park back in March. And now Arrieta. Now Zayas is getting on. This horse must be ready to go. He's working out like he's ready to come back. And I think, that's a big reason why he's also 2-1. Again, it's a big field. There's 11 horses in the race. You want to talk about, you got some young horses here. Some are more experienced than others. I do not believe there are any first-time starters. No first-time starters in this race. So they all have a little experience. Some have more than others. The most experienced horse has 6 races, not a lot of experience. So you could get some bumping around again. So trip makes a difference. Start makes a difference. And the other horse I wanted to talk about was the number 5 horse, the Rizzer. Kind of love the name too.
Love that name.
Yeah, no, this horse is trained by Jenna Antonucci, and I
Okay.
think that's big because she knows how to train horses. Obviously, she won the Belmont, the only female trainer to win the Belmont. Putting Morales back on the horse again, which is nice because that just must mean the horse, the jockey knows the horse pretty well. Came in third last time out, smaller field, but third off the layoff again. June 15th, a little while ago, put in a 59-second workout at 5 furlongs. That means this horse definitely has some gas in the tank ready to go. And I think at the price of 8-1, I would not leave that horse out of any of your picks. So those are kind of the numbers that get me a little excited. Again, I'm not putting any knock against the number 10 horse, 11 Bravo, with Safi Joseph Jr. and Zayas on him. But again, if you're looking for some value, which, Alex, value is a key word that we use often. I know you use it a lot. I've heard you use it several times. And value is important. So there's another value horse, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely love the value, man. Fred, I've been handicapping horse racing for the past 3 years, I'd say. And my knowledge on it is I'm still learning. And, it's always, the question is like, that I've noticed, right, is like, how do you pick a horse that's known to run on dirt, that's about to run on turf? How do you do the vice versa, right? Run on turf, run on dirt. The horses you picked are known to be turf racing horses. The horses I picked are known to be dirt racing horses. Again, like I said, I'm a statistics guy. I look at their speed, and I think it's just how hungry they are and how hungry the jockey is. I don't think in this specific case here, the 2 horses that I picked, I think that they're going to have a good chance no matter what track they're on. But just because they're always used to this type of environment, right? They're never in a smaller race. It's always a long one. I think distance is more important than track with these horses. So that's always the question I'm always asking myself. How do you pick a turf horse that's about to run on a dirt track, vice versa? I trust my instincts and the statistics. That's what I always go with.
No, that's a great point and a great question. And each handicapper, I think, and then I've listened to a lot of other podcasts and try and learn from some of the elements that each handicapper uses. And again, some of the handicappers are very smart and knowledgeable on breeding. This horse has good breeding for turf. This horse has good breeding for dirt. There have been horses who were bred for turf. They put them on dirt and they become a championship horse on dirt. Sometimes they'll just try it and say, wow, it's amazing. Of course, when they're working out, they can watch their action, how they run on turf, how they run on dirt. The trainers will know their action speaks to dirt or their action speaks to turf. Some trainers are very well known. Christophe Clement, very well known as a turf trainer. There's other trainers who are known as turf trainers who have done some great work with turf trainers. Todd Pletcher, probably more known as a dirt trainer because he has lots of dirt champions throughout his career. So some of that has to do with the trainer, some of that has to do with the breeding. And sometimes they'll just try it. Sometimes the trainer will just look at a horse. Horse has been running on dirt, hasn't been doing very well. Let's try an experiment. Put him on turf.
I mean, why not, right? You can't score if you don't shoot, right? You don't know what kind of horse this is unless you test him out in all capabilities. Any track.
Well, that's true in any circumstance. You can't score if you don't shoot. And we're going to be shooting quite a bit this weekend. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm looking forward to talking to you again, Alex. I had a great time talking with you. I enjoyed having you on. I look forward to having you on again. So Let Him Run is going to be on again next week. We're going to figure it out. Just watch us, listen to us, follow us on X, subscribe and like. We appreciate you guys watching and joining us. And Alex, any final words before we cut out of here?
No final words. Just give us some good luck for tomorrow. I know I came in hot my first time here with those winning picks, so hopefully I could keep my record above 500 here.
Well, listen, you're going to do great. We love having you. I look forward to seeing you again. So have a great weekend, Alex. Enjoy it.
Yep.
And we'll talk again. All right?
You as well, Fred. Enjoy it.
All right, later. Take care.
Bye.